Hello there, people of the internet. So I was going through some inventory, just browsing around, looking through some of the things that I had just laying around, and I came across this right here. This is a brass casing for an 8mm Kurtz cartridge, or 8x33 or 792x33, however it is you want to designate this particular cartridge. So this is a really interesting little cartridge that really set way to modern firearms technology. So the 8x33, this particular brass case was acquired because it was the first full, give some space here for YouTube algorithm to not pick this up, auto thing that I have ever fired, and I decided to go ahead and collect one of the brass cases just for collectability and sentimental purposes. So this was actually from back when I was working at Royal Tiger Imports. We had a Sturmgewehr STG44, similar to what I got right here. And it was chambered in 8mm Kurtz, and I got the opportunity to go ahead and test fire it. So I definitely took that opportunity, and then I grabbed the brass case, and this is where I currently am. So I was going through my stuffing, I found the brass casing, I was like, I don't think I've ever made a video talking about 8mm Kurtz. Let's sit down and have that discussion. So 8mm Kurtz is a really interesting little round. So back when Germany was starting off with World War II, they were using essentially these. This is a Yugoslavian version of it, but they're Kar 98 8mm Mauser rifles chambered in 8mm Mauser. And they fired a 198 grain bullet at about 2,700 feet per second. It depends on like the country of origin for that ammo, because there's a lot of countries that made it. And it depends on a bunch of different factors, but you're looking at about 26 to 2,700 feet per second with that 198 grain bullet. So these were bolt action rifles, manually operated. They all held 5 rounds of ammunition, with the exception of some that had like trench magazines, which were like 20 rounds of ammunition, and those were very, very uncommon. They're fed with stripper clips. This was definitely antiquated technology. And by the time World War II had rolled around, Germany based their doctrine off of using these bolt-action rifles to protect their machine guns. The issue is that really did not work out all that great whenever their riflemen were coming up against people with superior technology. So during the Second World War, Germany was paying attention to combat distances, how far these combat distances were actually taking place, and they made efforts to make a rifle that had lighter recoiling ammunition for faster follow-up shots. They made it full auto so it could be used as a submachine gun style of firearm. They made it, they made the ammunition a lot lighter weight. This way they could carry significantly more amounts of it. And the idea was that they were making an intermediate caliber cartridge. Well, it was still 8mm. They were making an intermediate rifle cartridge that would be chambered in a revolutionary new style of rifle. So the STG44, it's very similar to what we still use even to this day. We have ourselves a pistol grip, we have ourselves a buttstock, we have ourselves a detachable, typically 30-round magazine. There are different capacity magazines out there. The beautiful thing about external magazines is you can have whatever capacity you want. And this is a trend that we still see to this day with modern-made 8Ks and ARs and a bunch of different battle rifles out there, although those are full-power rifles. Like, there's a bunch of different kinds of firearms out there that still relegate based off of this specific system. Now, I will note that the AK was never specifically claimed to be based off of this particular system, but that's a rabbit holing a topic for another time. So the 8mm Kurtz is a 125 grain bullet moving at about 24 to 2,500 feet per second. It's pretty much on par with the bullet weight and the velocity of 7.62x39. And whenever the Germans were using these, it was determined that a rifle like this right here was dramatically more effective than a 5-shot full-power bolt-action rifle for what the Germans were doing. A lot of World War II was mechanized warfare and urban combat, and just those long bolt-action rifles with those full-power rifle cartridges just was not the right tool for the job. Even in full-fledged frontline military conflicts, most of your combat was taking place within 300 yards. So having this rifle capable of touching out to, say, 1,000 yards, you just didn't need that full power. You needed less power for better, faster follow-up shots. You needed a system that wasn't manually operated, and you needed something that had light recoil and was lightweight. This way you could carry more ammunition. Not that it much mattered to Germany by the time these got to the front lines, because they couldn't supply much ammunition at all in comparison to what it is that they were actually needing. So yeah, the 8mm Kurtz cartridge, 150 or a 125 grain bullet at about 2,500 feet per second, nearly identical to what we see with 7.62x39. I wish that we had some modern guns that were chambered in this little cartridge. I understand why we don't, because it's just so rare and niche, but it's well known enough to the point to where it is still made to this day, modern day. Like, this particular stuff is PPU produced. There are companies out there that make this. It's just so unusual to find firearms chambered in it. But if we could have, man, there's just a bunch of different options out there that I would love to see chambered in 8mm Kurtz. That would be such a cool little rifle cartridge combination. And something to where you don't have to go out and spend 10 grand on like an STG clone or something like that. There should be more options available. So there we go. There is my video talking about the 8mm Kurtz cartridge. I can't believe I've never put up a video on this particular round. So thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. And you guys go off. Have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you on the next episode.
Since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. Shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.